Hey there, this is another episode of Uncut Raw Music Interviews. I'm Tim Pendergrass, and this was another favorite of mine. They can't all be favorites, can they? Well, otherwise I probably wouldn't have done them, but this was a band called The Ventures, which was awesome. These guys were pretty old at this time. It was in '97, February of 1997, at the House of Blues up in Hollywood, California. And I remember the coolest thing about this interview was we went up into the green room, we're setting up lights, and they kind of had this couch area where we had the guys sit. And right there is John Fogerty from CCR, because he's like an enormous Ventures fan. And he's talking to Bob Bogle, I think, one of the guys, and just, you guys are the reason I play guitar. And he was all giddy. And I'm like, how interesting is this? I'm all giddy that's John standing there, and I'm a huge fan of CCR, and he's all giddy that the Ventures are standing there. So everybody's a music fan, I guess, from way back. But these guys were a little bit mellow. They were no ego whatsoever. They really didn't want to talk about themselves. It was just kind of just like meeting your dad or something, talking about his work. There was no showbiz, to it, or let me tell you about all the awards that I've won, which I thought was very interesting. So the interview itself's kind of slow, but they do say some pretty cool stuff in here. And we did get to tape some of this concert too. Hopefully I can post some of this stuff as well. But here's the raw, uncut interview of The Ventures.
Who's the general spokesman in the band?
No. We are talking.
Well, it was a unanimous point. That
I'm just more of a blabbermouth. Okay.
Okay, let me know when the frame
You're going.
rolling. Okay, first question is, what are the Ventures best known for?
What are the Ventures? I feel like, what's his name? What are the Ventures most for?
Alex Trebek.
Yeah, it's a Jeopardy question.
Or you can just say that I think we're best known for.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're best known for a unique instrumental sound. Like the first thing we put out, which was Walk Don't Run, was quite different than anything else that had been heard before. I guess that's probably what I'd have to say would be that.
How would you describe your sound?
Well, it's hard to say. It's a natural sound that we get. I mean, we pick up our guitars and we automatically get that sound, so we don't have to work on it.
Are you good with sound?
I'm good now.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the history of the band.
Well, let's see. I was born and well, Don and I were in construction work, bricklayers, and as we became friends, we started getting together to play guitar on weekends, just partying and for fun, and we had a lot of fun with it, and started doing it more and more, and pretty soon we decided to try and make a career out of playing music. And so we recorded Walk Don't Run, and make a long story short, we got it released, and it was a big hit for us, so we stopped laying bricks.
Do any of you surf?
No, I don't think so.
No.
That's maybe
I just had
Jerry.
to ask that.
No way.
See, why do you think your sound has lasted over the years?
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that young musicians, it's a number of things. Young musicians started buying our records to learn how to play the guitar and drums, bass, etc. And so we started taking current vocal hits and doing them instrumentally to get title strength in our albums. And just one thing fed the other, And it kept us abreast of the music as the years went by, and kept building new young musician fans.
Anybody else have any theories? Or it looked like somebody else might have wanted to say
That
something.
sounds pretty much what I would have said, actually. I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, did we get the first three songs?
We seem to be a tough interview.
Yes.
Maybe it's not going to be 20 minutes. Maybe 5.
And then we switch to
I don't know why this
He's waiting.
question seems so difficult.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about a few of your songs.
Certainly should know. Yeah, okay.
Okay, first one is Walk Don't Run.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, tell me about the making of it, the recording of it, how you feel about it today, whatever you'd like.
We found Walk Don't Run in a Chet Atkins album called Hi-Fi in Focus in 1959 or maybe late 58. Bob happened to have the album, and we really liked the song, but he played it in a style that we couldn't play. Kind of a finger style and almost kind of jazzy. And we just put it into a rock beat and did our own arrangement, and that's how that happened. And every time I think about Walk Don't Run, of course, it's probably a song that is closest to our hearts because it was our first hit. And not only that, but I like the song. I never get tired of playing it for some reason.
How about Hawaii Five-0?
Hawaii Five-0 came about because one of the persons that was involved in the production of that was a neighbor of our drummer, Mel Taylor, and he suggested that we record the song, you know, and he said he'd be talking to his people, and they wanted to know if we were interested. Well, of course, we're interested in anything, you know. So. You know, after a couple of meetings, we went in and recorded the song, and of course it was a big hit for us, every bit as big as Walk Don't Run.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I know you guys for.
Yeah.
Big hit for my generation.
Yeah.
Just always turn on TV just to catch that opening segment.
Actually, we recorded that, we released the record in '68, and it looked like it wasn't going to do anything. We were already getting ready to record the next single. And about 7 or 8 months later, the show became more and more popular, and all of a sudden, the song started catching on, and it just really exploded, you know.
We had 30 musicians on that session.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least. Yeah.
30 musicians and 1 drummer.
Yeah.
They won't be here tonight, though. Well,
Well, they could.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about Telstar?
Telstar was originally done by a group called the English Tornadoes, and I happened to hear that on the radio in probably '61 or '62. I can't remember now. And I really liked it, and so I went back into the office and I said, I heard a song and I think it's really great. Let's record it and do an album and call it Telstar. And that's how that came about. So we weren't the original recording, but I think we outsold the original recording with our album because we sold about 1 million albums on that particular thing.
One more song, Apache 65.
Well, we had Apache. That's another one that. Who had that?
Jorgen.
Yeah, Jorgen
Ingman.
Yeah, and
Jorgen.
we recorded. A lot of people, because we sell so many albums, they identify us with having that single hit, which we didn't. But it's like I said, we sell so many albums that people identify us with that, and that's fine with us.
As I mentioned, we started recording a lot of current vocals instrumentally. We would take songs that were like just coming up into the top 10 and record them. By the time they got into the top 10, we had our album out. Well, we didn't just only do that with vocals, we did it with instrumentals too.
Let's talk about your new album. Tell me about
The one we're working on now?
Oh, actually, the one that's out now.
Oh, that would be Wild Again. Yeah, we originally called the album, we were calling it Hits We Missed. Mainly instrumental hits. Instrumental hits we missed. And that was the concept of the album, so that's basically what we did.
And then how about the TV themes album?
That's a compilation of things that we did over the years, TV themes and TV commercials, and I guess Capitol put that together and put it up. They don't tell us anything, we just see it. But I kind of thought it was pretty good when I played it, because it brings back things to me that I haven't heard for a long time.
Tell me a little bit about your success in Japan. Or is that just some sort of folklore?
No, first time we went to Japan, we weren't really known, not well at all. As a matter of fact, we were the openers for Bobby V and a girl named Joanne Campbell. She was the headliner. And that was in 1962. Then about 2 years later, we went back to Japan, and as we were rolling into the airport off the runway, we saw this huge mass of people there. We were wondering who was on the plane, you know, the president or someone really important. And as we got closer, we saw the signs, welcome to Ventures. The electric guitar was not a popular instrument at all at that time, but all of a sudden it just exploded, and many bands sprang up, patterning themselves after the Ventures, you know. And then we started writing Japanese songs, and we wrote a lot of songs that became classics, you know, really classic hits. And that and a number of other things just kind of caused us to really become popular there. To this day, we're still very popular there.
Yeah, how do you react to the fact that you're the top-selling instrumental band in history?
Well, for, you know, a couple of guys that started out as bricklayers and bought 2 guitars in a pawn shop in 1959 and learned how to play them. 1 year later, we had a #1 hit in the nation. And now this is, you know, like 38 years later, and we're still, like I said earlier, we're kind of like the Energizer Bunny. You know, we just keep going and going and going.
I think one reason for it is you mentioned, you asked us if we were surfers. Actually, surfing music is really a small part of what we do. We play a little bit of everything, you know. And as I mentioned before, we usually would record current hits. So that just covered the entire field, just about everything you could name, you know.
Over the many years you've been touring, do you have any, you know, kind of funny stories about what you've had to go through?
Yeah, plenty. But
nothing you could say on
You're clean.
Yeah, we've had some really strange experiences. We did a show once, 2 weeks in Indonesia, and we didn't realize it, but it was about 6 months after they had a major coup over there in '66, I think, you know. Some kind of a communist uprising, and the country was just in shambles, and everyone was scared. They had machine guns on each end of the stage in case war happened from the audience, you know.
yeah,
That was really a weird experience for us. They had curfew in a major city, Jakarta. They had barbed wire across the intersections, and they patrolled the streets with tanks. And they said, make sure you don't go outside at night or you'll be shot, you know. And so it was a pretty frightening experience. That's one that comes to my mind.
Okay, well, now we're going to bring it way up to the present right now. I understand today you had a big event at the Hard Rock Cafe. Tell me a little bit about it. Who was there?
well, we presented a guitar to the Hard Rock Cafe. Now, the Hard Rock Cafe had our guitar in there when they first opened, and somebody had loaned it to them. And that person, from what I understand, because that guitar is now in Hawaii Hard Rock, and has been for a while. So I guess he took the guitar with him, and when he moved to Hawaii, and gave it to them. So we just replaced it.
And who was there witnessing it? Did you guys perform?
No, we didn't perform. We had a nice lunch there, didn't we?
We had a nice introduction from Jeff Baxter, who was the lead guitarist with Doobie Brothers and Steely Dan. And we went, they had a little podium, and we said a few words and, to the audience. And let's see, in the audience was Iron Butterfly Group, and Larry Taylor there with the bass player for Canned Heat, and Bruce Gary was there, the drummer for Knack, and then the Hard Rock Cafe people came up and had a little ceremony with us presenting them with the guitar.
Okay,
And they drove us up to the front door in a Woody. I took a lot of pictures of that. Kind of like when we did the rock walk down the street here.
yeah, earlier you mentioned that you take vocal kind of music and make it instrumental. Have you ever considered having a vocalist?
Well, Don and I did, but we mentioned it to the president of Liberty Records, which was a company that we were with, and he said, "No, don't do that." He says, "You have an image of an instrumental group, and it's a big image." And he said, first place, there's nothing you could do to change your image, but it would be foolish to try because you might damage your stature, you know." So we took his word for it and didn't try it. We sing on stage a few songs, but to break it up a little bit, not on record.
And how would you like the Ventures to be remembered?
Nice guys.
Yeah.
Bunch of nice guys. We have a good, clean family show here.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun. How about you?
Yeah, good time playing music.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, let's talk a little. I understand that the lineup has changed throughout the years. Tell me a little bit about that, especially now that you have a new drummer.
Well, our drummer that has been with us since 1961, he passed away last August of cancer. And we were fortunate enough to have his son take his place, Leon. And he has his dad's style. And he came over to Japan and played a couple of songs just to introduce him because we go there every year. And I thought I'd turn around and see Mel sitting there. I mean, it was quite an experience. And he's excellent. He's very good. So we're very happy with him.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Actually, the question is, what's it like playing with the Ventures?
It's pretty awesome, actually. I grew up listening to the Ventures. You know, I mean, the first solo I learned was Caravan. You know, my father was a big influence in my music career. It was up to the day, you know, he passed away. And it's an honor. I mean, I'm having a great time. You know, it's really a gas.
And how long have you been?
I joined you guys, in September. That was the first show we did in Japan. We did another show in Washington, D.C. at the Smithsonian, which was actually the first full show.
Yeah.
So this tonight is his second show with us. Yeah.
Nervous at all?
I'm sorry?
Are you nervous?
No, not really. A little bit maybe. But it's good nervous, you know. It's a nervous energy. Once I get up, it's gone.
Adrenaline pumps.
Yeah.
He's joining us. We're in the middle of recording a new CD, and he's joining us. He's our drummer on that, and he'd be going to Japan with us this summer. We have about a 4-month tour, so he's a permanent member of the Ventures now.
I'm going to ask one more question, which is, what does the future hold for the Ventures?
Well, you know, I'll tell you, we seem to be doing, you know, there's always lulls in your career. If you've been a musician and a recording artist for 38 years, you know, there's always lulls in your career. This happens to be a real high point. We're doing real well now. We're selling a lot of CDs, and there's a lot of companies that are leasing from like Capital EMI and putting them out on their own. I don't know how many CDs we have out on the market right now. I would imagine about 30. So it's pretty amazing. And then we had a song in Pulp Fiction. I don't know if you knew that or not.
We had the closing theme.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. We were the writers, and they didn't use our performance. we had the writing on that. It's called Surf Rider.
Let's keep my ears open for that one.
Yeah, and that,
Okay, and then
did great things for us. That movie.
Yeah, I can play bass. I can do that. Well, I'll make this short. There's some very famous groups of men and women down through history. Guys like Socrates and Aristotle, who spent a great deal of time giving us concepts of philosophy and science. The great theoretical physicists from Eastern Europe, Niels Bohr, Madame Curie, Albert Einstein. They gave us new concepts of theoretical physics and try to help us with the answers to the universe. And then there's the Ventures. Four guys that got together and decided that maybe the guitar was not just an accompanying instrument, but probably a centerpiece of music. And they put together the band that I've never been a fan of any band. I've never joined any fan club in my life, except when I was 11 years old. I did join the Ventures fan club. Wrote a letter to Bob Bogle, who was nice enough to actually handwrite a letter back to me when I was living in Mexico, telling me to buy one of those guitars, which I did for $175, which is big money in those days, and became a guitar player. So I think because of Bob Bogle really is the reason that I'm here today. So this band was the most inspirational group of guys on the planet. They've been real good friends, and they're also a great band. So I hope you all come down to the House of Blues tonight and check out some really good surfing and picking and all that stuff. And all I can say is, I don't know who else I'm supposed to introduce. Do I get to actually introduce these guys? Is this? Those guys. Those guys at the table. Yeah, well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest instrumental rock guitar band in the history of the planet Earth and the universe of God and everything else, the Ventures. You should come up here. This is good. It's all right.
Well, let's see now. What year is it? It's, I think, 1997, isn't it? Yeah. All right, you know, my partner Bob and I bought two guitars at a pawn shop in 1959. Seems like that's about 38 years ago. And we had a #1 hit in the nation 1 year later. So that's quite an accomplishment at that time. And we seem to be like the Energizer Bunny, you know what I mean? We just keep going, going, and going 38 years later. And here we are at the Hard Rock Cafe, a beautiful, wonderful Hard Rock Cafe. And it's really an honor to be here today and get this guitar put up. So I'll get to my partner here. He's got a few things to say too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll make it real short. This is a real honor, and I want to thank the people here at the Hard Rock, and really appreciate it. Also, I don't know if anyone's mentioned Larry Taylor, sitting over here. He's been close to us for a long time, bass player with Canned Heat. And Bruce Gary with the Knack. He hasn't been mentioned yet. Thank you. Thanks for coming. And of course, Baxter, thank you for your nice speech. Good to be in the company of Einstein. It's always. And all the fellows out here, celebrities and others. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure, really, to be part of this kind of presentation, and it's a real honor for us to be here today. And I want to thank Hard Rock and everybody, Ray Costello and everybody putting this thing together. Thank you very much. It's really an honor for me to be here. My father should be here in place of me, but I'm glad to be here for him and keep the memory of Mel Taylor alive. It's really a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.